The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to MGM. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight in our nationwide general mentorship session for notary signing agents. And thank you for allowing us to be a voice along your path to signing agent excellence. This is where questions become connections, and where we all have a chance to make our industry a better place. This public training session is held every Monday, except holidays, at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's all about you, the nationwide notary and signing agent community. I have to deliver my public service announcement to you guys. Please remember, if you're driving, this meeting is being recorded, and we would prefer, if you're watching live while driving, keep your camera off and remain on mute. Please keep your eyes on the road. We care about your safety and your well-being. You can always come back to our replays on YouTube anytime you wish. And if you subscribe to our channel, you'll get notified when we post fresh, new content, like the replay of this session. Ronnie will be posting the link to our YouTube in the chat, so you can subscribe today if you like. For those of you who aren't driving, we invite you to turn on your cameras. And hey, it's really just so much easier to interact with all of you when we can see your faces. My name is Beth Hathoot, and I'm currently the lead instructor at Notary Stars, as well as a 22+ year notary signing agent. Today's Monday, November 6th, 2023. And I have with me two fabulous co-hosts, Mr. Ronnie Mickle, the founder and co-owner of Notary Stars, Unlimited Ink Notary, and Online Notaries Public, and Mr. William Bumphrey, aka Mr. Bill, our expert remote online notary instructor here at Notary Stars. We have several questions and topics all lined up and ready to address with you tonight. And we invite you, if you're not driving, turn those cameras on, show those big smiles, and get ready to ask a question or share something you know with your colleagues here today. Try not to be shy or timid. We're kind of in that digital age. Come on, guys. And all you have to do to get into the questions queue is just virtually raise your hand by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. This is your time, and we want to hear from you. So we don't have any additional announcements at this moment. So Mr. Ronnie, are you ready to kick off the meeting?
Absolutely. Now, you guys know, Miss Beth just said it, but I'm going to ask it too. We are moving into a digital age, which means marketing our business is digital. Being online as a notary is digital. We're all going to have to be behind that camera at some point. Why not do it at a time where it's safe? You're not being judged by your peers here. We're here to see your faces, and it helps us interact with you. So please turn on those cameras and let's light up the screen so that we can get this session rolling really well tonight. Ms. Beth, we have, by the way, guys, go ahead. If you have a question that you brought tonight, go ahead and get those hands virtually raised so that we can get you into queue in order to answer your questions. We're going to start out with some of the ones that you guys have pre-asked, but we know that, you get sparked along the way. So if you have a question, get that hand raised from the very beginning. But Ms. Beth, I'm going to read you off the first question for tonight so we can jump right in. It's from Brenda Adams out of Arizona. She says, I was recently told on a loan application that the spouse must initial her husband's box and vice versa. But on the loan application, it says to initial here. I thought the person who is signing initials to state that they are understanding that they're applying for joint credit, if they are indeed. So which is it?
That's a really good question. And actually, it's an age-old problem as well. On the old loan applications, we had the top signature line on the page 1 that said, sign here if applying for joint credit. And if it wasn't joint credit, we didn't have anybody sign. Now we had the new loan application, and we thought all of that was finally going to be resolved. Now they're initialing. This is standard operational procedure to have your signer initial only their section 1 personal information if there's joint credit, not each other's if it's a spouse or joint credit. However, that age-old problem now is rearing its ugly head again and saying, hey, I don't want to do it that way. This is the lender talking. I want you to do it this way. So several things have to happen. We have to keep a list of which companies want it done differently. I can give you that short list here now. It's probably not going to be complete, but you need to watch your instructions. You need to remember when you get a direction that tells you from this lender, remember it's a lender document, so it isn't a title requirement, it's a lender requirement. The next time you get a loan from this lender, you've got to do it the same way. So here's when you're going to do dual initials under those section 1 loan applications, personal information. So if you get a Bank of America requires initials on both sides of that personal 1 information. If you get a Bank of America through Mortgage Connect and or a Chase Bank through Mortgage Connect, they're going to do the same thing. ServiceLink, if you guys work for ServiceLink, all of their files seem to require dual initials. So watch your instructions, take notes. This little flip thing behind me is my notepad. Whenever I get an instruction for something, I'm writing it down. I'm putting it on my flip pad so that I can reference back to it. 2 other things you probably need to know. You're not going to see the new 1003 on HELOCs as a rule. They can use it or they can choose not to use it. It's not a requirement. Chase Bank will always have separate loan applications, even if the borrowers are married. Okay, so watch for that. Sometimes you'll still have dual signature lines on page 8, but you're going to have separate loan applications. They're not signing that dual signature line. They're not initialing on each other's section 1 personal information. So your basic ones are going to be ServiceLink, B of A, Bank of America, and Chase through Mortgage Connect. That's what we know of right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Beth. I appreciate that very thorough explanation. And this is in our training at Notary Stars as well. So I know that Ms. Beth goes over this really in depth inside Notary Stars. So if you're not a member of Notary Stars and you're having problems like this, we go over it really in depth under the hood. Which brings me to our next question. We get a lot of people, and actually this is probably a question that comes up every week. And they wanted to know, do you know of a notary that I can do ride-alongs with? And I have to tell you guys, if you're newer in the industry, or even if you're not newer, if you're helping other notaries, you absolutely, positively cannot, I'll repeat that, absolutely, positively cannot do ride-alongs. One of the questions on the NNA test that you take every single year says, if I'm on my way to a signing and they're late with the documents and my husband offers to print them, do I A, tell him that's not allowed, B, say sure honey, or C, the answer is it's not allowed. you are not allowed, and you are contracted by every signing service, which I guarantee tells you, you cannot show your customers information. If you take another notary to the table, and I cannot say that I've never done it, so I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't do it, but I didn't know I was doing wrong when I did it. If you are not a party to that transaction, meaning the title agency, the lender, or the notary, no one should see that information in your position. You are breaking the Grand Leachy bill here. Like, you are compromising your signer's financial information. You can lose your job before you build it. Okay. And it bothers me now, knowing what I know. Remember, this is 15 years in the making, but over 10 years ago, I might have made some of these mistakes. And I did make these mistakes, but thank God the statute of limitations have passed and I know better, and I can hand this down to you guys. You do not want to do this. You can end your career faster than you started it. And it would really bode well for you to say, wow, if this notary is allowing this to happen, now knowing that this is so against the rules, if someone's willing to take me on a ride along, who am I really getting my information from? If they're willing to break signing agent 101 from the NNA. So be very careful if you have any ride-alongs, or somebody offers you to do a ride-along. Here at Notary Stars, we teach you page by page. We teach you on every loan product under the sun from start to finish, what you can say about the document. We show them on the screen. Beth has them filled out, shows you how to properly execute them, and we have script training. That should be enough to help get you going in the right direction. And we also offer live classes, interactive classes, where you can ask questions. And Beth even does something called pass replay, where she allows the students to kind of practice presenting the documents to the class. Sure, it's virtual. We understand that a lot of you want to get that practice with the documents, but under the hood, we offer you ways to do that using the NNA book and teaching you how to debind that book, scan it, get the practice documents, and practice with a family member or even another notary with loan documents that are not someone else's loan documents. Because again, you cannot do that. And I just want to make sure that you guys are very, very careful, especially those of you in your newer part of your career. I know you really want to, get that learning curve over with. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to be my notary the first 2 years or 3 years that I was in this industry, but looking back and now having the knowledge that I have, I really want to pass that along to you so that you are safe in your career and that you don't make some of the mistakes that I've seen notaries in their career over. And yes, I can give you a list of notaries who were caught doing ride-alongs. It's actually in the Unlimited Ink Notary contract now. And here's another thing, guys. I want to point this out over one very, very bad case. We had a notary who was training another notary. Unfortunately, and here's the dynamics. He was a signing agent, bilingual, has a promising future as a bilingual notary because you have two demographics you can go after there. Wife is a manager at one of the big banks. I'll leave it at that so nobody can trace it back. And basically she's feeding business, like, hey, my husband's a signing agent and he's now training someone else to work with them. They get a call on Cinco de Mayo, and this is a true story. They get a call on Cinco de Mayo. They had been having a cocktail, they get a signing coming in. He's like, let me show you how to use my mobile printer, my mobile scanner. Well, apparently his ride along had a little too much, and she pee-peed in the floor of the signer. Not kidding you. And that ruined his career, not only his career, his wife's career, and that new notary signing agent. They are all blacklisted because that happened to be the lender, happened to be the bank where the wife worked. It was all guilty by association. None of them will ever work for that lender ever again, or any of the title agencies that work with them, or Unlimited Ink. And that actually happened at Unlimited Ink. I wound up having to pay all the closing fees on that particular signing. Yep. All the closing fees are a little over $1,000. And that means in our contract, it says at Unlimited Ink, if you cause any damages to the company and you have multiple signings, we are going to take those damages out of your signings. They didn't get their last paycheck either. So you want to be careful, because the person you bring to the table with you may not be looking to represent you. Remember, if you're helping someone else, they're there to help themselves. You might be there to help them, but they might be helping themselves. So just want to give you that situation to kind of help protect your careers.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
On that same vein of ride-alongs, how do you feel about the notary providing the witness and the witness sitting in for the whole signing?
You know, this is a really great question, okay? The witness really only needs to be present for the document that needs to be witnessed. If the signer says that they can sit, like if it's a family member that's, you know, distant relative that's doing it and they want to be there, or if it's their best friend and they're happy they're buying a house, sure. But you should always start out each signing, you know, you only need to be here for this, and I'm going to leave it to the signer to let you know when you can leave the table. That has boded well for me every time when I have to bring a witness. I always look and make sure ahead of time what documents need to be witnessed. It's usually a conveyance deed. And then I let them know this is the only thing that needs to be witnessed. After we're done, you can leave the table unless the signer would like to have you here for the duration, and I'm going to leave that up to them. You put all the liability for that onto the signer. Ms. Beth, how do you feel about that situation?
Yeah, I agree. The witness should be there to strictly do their job and then leave, unless the witness happens to be a family member or a close friend and the signer doesn't mind. In fact, I talk about this in class, and when we are making our confirmation calls and telling our signers that they need to provide a witness, that's in the event that you're not bringing a witness as well. Oftentimes they don't want to provide a witness, not because they don't know anybody or nobody's available, and they'll give you 52 excuses to sunrise, right? It's because they don't want someone to see their personal information. So keep someone they know. So keep that in mind when we're talking about witnesses in both of those situations.
We have a question from Nancy out of Florida, who is, you know, one of the top notary stars over there. She's just, I'm so proud of her with what she's done with her business. And she's out of a witness state. So I'm sure this question is along that vein, or maybe I'm wrong, but.
No, it is. I mean, with that in mind, and I never even thought of that, kind of makes it difficult to bring your own witness, though. Because what are you supposed to do with the witness you brought with you?
That is a
I
really
have
great.
brought witnesses. When I used to bring witnesses, I'm really pretty opposed to it now, but I have brought witnesses in the past, Nancy. They will witness, do their job, and go back out to my car or go sit in the other room. Right? If we're signing at the dining room or kitchen table, they can go in the living room and just sit and wait quietly or go back out to the car.
Oh, I have something really great to add to this conversation. We just learned this week. It was the first time in 30 years for the title officer, and it's the first time for me in 15 years. For you mothers that have daughters who have the same name except the middle has changed, you need to make sure that your daughter, if she's a witness, signs with her middle name and you sign without it, so that you see two different, very different signatures. And for you gentlemen who might be bringing your son, which is, it happened with a gentleman. I'm Ronnie Mickle. My dad is Ronnie Mickle Sr. I'm Ronnie Lee Mickle Jr. The son signed as a witness. You could tell it was two different signatures, but it caused a big stink because the names of the witnesses were exactly the same. So we wound up having to do an affidavit stating what that was, which was more work for the notary. So if you are using your children and they have the same name, you are going to want to find a way to distinctively differentiate between who is who, because you can't have two of the same witnesses on the document. It just looked, you know, and I have to say, you know, my father's name, but right like my mother, and both of these signatures, you could tell it was two different ones. Like if you've ever had to compare signatures, you could tell it was two different ones, but they were very similar. So he was definitely got his handwriting from his, like, who taught you how to write, right? Like, I mean, your parents sit you down with a little book and teach you how to write, and you kind of absorb a little bit of how they write. So if you're using your children, you want to make sure that you're definitely differentiating between those two signatures if you have the same name. We have one more hand raised, Miss Beth, and then I want to move on to the next question. Adina, you want to add on that? Adina, we called on you to unmute there. Okay, going once. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes. And I absolutely agree with what you all stated in regards to the witness that we may have to bring with us. I've been on that situation several times, and I always left my witnesses in the vehicle until it was time for them to witness only the pages that were required for them to witness. And I don't know what state you all are all in, but another option I was provided, and this is strictly specifically for the lender that you're dealing with, but some of them may, and you always have to get permission, allow you to do a Zoom call with your witness that's in the vehicle. And of course, you pan the camera around, everyone speaks or whatever, and then you just focus the camera on the person that's signing the document, and they can witness that person signing the document that needs to be witnessed. But that's strictly, something that a lender can only be the one to let you know whether they will authorize that or not. But I've had that option to do that, so I just wanted to put that in there.
I appreciate that. I also want to add to that. For those of you that use children that have the children sit in the car, you need to make sure that your witness actually is in the room, especially because if you're in a state that requires the realtor to be there, or if they're there. We called a notary recently who said, oh, my daughter was there. She was in the car the entire time. Because it got down to the point, I said, so if I call the signer and ask them, was your daughter in the room? They're going to say yes. You're making a big mistake if you have someone sitting in the car, or you take your documents elsewhere and have them witness. If it requires a witness, and there are 5 witness states, right, Ms. Beth?
Mm-hmm.
And it's where the property is located that you need to know. And we have that under the hood at Notary Stars. You need to have that in your folder. And if you have a property basically, if it doesn't come from your state, you don't need to know the 5 witness states. You need to know if it doesn't come from your state and you're not in a witness state, or if it comes from another state, you need to look and see if you need witnesses. And if you do, those witnesses need to be present at the signing when you actually, sign that document. They can't be later on coming and signing your document.
Yeah, it has to be done contemporaneously, so they have to be in the room. Unless you're doing RON, but then they're signing contemporaneously, not at some time later.
Yep. There's a question that came in that I want to go to. I see Ms. Delora has her hand raised, and we'll go to Mr. Delora right after this. This one I'm not going to name, and you know who you are, and I love you. I talked about you in the last one, in the last session, because you weren't here, and I said you have my favorite name. So some people know who you are from just saying that. But I'm not going to say this because it involves, having 2 separate companies, and I don't want anybody to trace it back to you. So it says, I have a Florida life health annuities license for a long time. Can I function 2 camps, making a profit on products from the insurance industry, and separately function as a notary, as long as I don't do both with the same client? The answer is absolutely yes. Okay, this is the same thing as being a notary and a realtor. This is the same thing as, doing insurance and being a notary. You can do all 3 of those things. However, you want to keep them entirely separate. And when you're working with signing services or title companies, you don't want to let them know that you are a realtor. I know that there are realtors on the call right now, and you probably are going to be like, what? I have all this experience. To a title company, and I'm going to speak specifically to realtors right now, they don't want to know your experience, because their client is probably a realtor that's sending you to their signers. So they don't want to know another realtor is going to do their signing. That can make another realtor very jealous. And you might think, well, I'm operating in a different capacity. You want to keep those separate: email, phone number, messages, everything. Same thing with life insurance. You don't want to give title companies or signing services the thought that you might cross that line. it's best to keep the email addresses separate, the phone number separate, the voicemail separate, everything separate. You know, I have 3 companies and they all come into one inbox, all come to one phone, but I know when it's ringing which one it is. You got to set yourself up like that. But absolutely, I say if you can make more money, do it. I mean, don't let anybody hold you back, but don't let anybody get in your way by saying you shouldn't do this. And title agencies, when you're working direct, are fiduciary companies. They are moving money around, and they're going to be hesitant if they see any advertising in your email address or get the wrong voicemail. They're going to be very hesitant to work with you if they think it could be impede upon their business. And remember, especially if you want to go direct, which should be your goal as a signing agent, to ultimately get direct clients, they don't want anything that can compete with their clients. You know, and I've seen so many newer notaries make that mistake that it burns the bridges for all of us. So just be very, very careful with that. But I say go for it. There's no law against it. You know, I would read all my contractor agreements that say, you know, can't be a realtor and all those things. And, you know, some companies say you can't be an active realtor. That is absolutely true. But if it doesn't say it, I'd say go for it and work both angles. There's no reason, especially if you enjoy what you're doing. Don't let anybody keep you back from something that you enjoy to make money. Miss Beth, we have Miss Delora in. Miss Delora, you had your hand raised, and we would love to hear from you for a moment.
Yay, Delora's in the house.
All right. Well, thanks for having me again, Ronnie and Beth. I love being here. So for everybody, I know that some of you may have seen me already. I've been around for a couple weeks now, but my name is Delora and I'm with US Health Advisors. And my main purpose here is to help you all with health insurance coverage questions, new policies. It is open enrollment time, so I know a lot of you are looking. But the coverage that we offer is specifically made for self-employed people. So it's a lot stronger coverage than what you're used to seeing on the marketplace or wherever else you may be looking. And for the most part, it's a lot more affordable too. Typically, we're about 40 to 50% lower than the marketplace. So if you need some help going over options or you want to review a policy that you currently have, if you have questions about it, I can help you with all of that stuff. So I'm going to put my information in the chat here. There's a Calendly link that you can go ahead and set your own appointment for, or you're welcome to call or text me anytime. And I put my phone number in there as well for you.
And Ms. Delora, if you don't mind, while you're here, I just want to share this really briefly. I appreciate you popping in. Guys, health insurance is something that I feel very strongly with. And I know I had somebody that wrote and said, hey, listen, Delora's prices were too high. I know that comparatively to the marketplace, they are lower, but it may be dependent upon your personal health needs, your personal health journey. You should compare the options for yourself as health insurance. And I give this example every time I get a chance to talk about it. When I was 21, my parents had told me right up until I was 21, Ronnie, get health insurance, Ronnie, get health insurance, Ronnie, get health insurance. Yeah. I was 21. What did I have to lose? Or 20 at the time. What did I have to lose? I'm always healthy. I was one of 5 kids in Atlanta, Georgia, who got bacterial meningitis. I spent 8 weeks in a coma and 8 to 9 months learning how to walk and talk again. And that was when they let me out of the hospital. I was in an induced coma for 3.5 weeks and a full-fledged coma. They told my parents if I woke up, I probably would never walk or talk again. Boy, did I show them. You guys can't shut me up sometimes. But that rendered me about $500,000 to be alive. And had I held health insurance, I would have been able to do it. At 21, I filed bankruptcy. That was very easy to recover. I'm 43. No worries about that now, right? But I couldn't stand to go through a bill like that at my age right now. It would be devastating. We are all one step off of a curve away from, you know, something happening. And I just want to make sure that you understand we're not trying to sell anything. When it comes to health insurance, you have to go directly to Delora, but we partnered with her. And when I say partnered with her, we mean just found someone who does this, because we don't sell health insurance. But as independent contractors, especially setting up a business, sometimes we don't consider those things because we're trying so hard. But I personally feel it's very important to kind of bring to the forefront. And, I'm going to say it this way, and you guys can laugh at me if you want to, but for all of you that are six-figure notaries or planning on being six-figure notaries, you will not have six figures if you run up a $500,000 bill. It will take you 5 years of service or more to recover from a major medical bill. So if the marketplace is not for you, check with Delora to see what she has to offer. If the marketplace is better, go with the marketplace. If Delora is better, go with Delora. She may not have the product for you. If you have pre-existing conditions, those sorts of things, it may not be the way for you to go. She's going to tell you the truth about what she can do, and no hard feelings if it comes up being more. But if it comes up being less, you get to save on your health costs. And that's why we found this alternative for small business owners. So I really appreciate you stopping by again, Ms. Delora. I really, really do.
One question for you, Mr. Mickle. This one has to do with BankServe. It says,
That's the question.
yeah, what do I need to know about working with BankServe?
Well, first of all, we did a great video earlier this year where we talked about the new security requirements for BankServe. It's on our YouTube channel. I'll try to look that up and post that in the chat. But I want to talk about the training in general, because I hear, oh, I'm going to work with AmRock. Oh, I'm going to work with BankServe. I'm going to work with Mortgage Connect. Notary Stars training covers, no matter who you're working with, how to do it right. You're going to make all of these companies happy. We're not just showing you how to go out and like blow it out of the water. We're showing you how to be an excellent signing agent. That's what BankServe wants. It wants someone who understands customer service, how to sign the documents, what title is expecting of you, all things that we cover at Notary Stars. I would be less concerned with how to work with BankServe or Mortgage Connect or Unlimited Ink than how do I work with all of those companies? How do I impress them all? And that's what we do at Notary Stars, is teach you how to impress all the companies that you work with, not just one of the companies that you work with. There's no difference. They all want the same thing. They want an excellent signing agent who understands the documents, understands their drop times. They want someone who understands what they go through when they send the file over. They want someone who understands signing agencies. And I would be more concerned about, did I take all the training available to me, the 150 plus hours of training at Notary Stars, so that I can appease anyone, than one single company, because you will never want to put all your eggs in one basket. When BankServe is slow, Mortgage Connect will be busy. When Mortgage Connect is busy, AmRock will be half as busy. When AmRock's thriving, for some reason, they're slower. You want to be able to pivot and choose between signing services and, of course, direct title as well. But I would be less concerned on making one company happy and understanding how to make them all happy. That would be my specific answer to that. Before we go to this question for you, Miss Beth, Adina's got her hand raised there again, and I want to check in with her to see what her question is, so we don't get behind on questions.
Hi, yes. I was wondering, because the last time I was on here, and it's been a while back now, but it was in regards to RON in the state of Alabama, and of course doing services with Blue Notary, because I remember you all sent out a mass email a couple of months ago in regards to, and it may have been Unlimited Ink specifically, and them using Blue Notary. But I used to pay for the services of RON. I'm sorry, that's my 2-year-old in the background. I'm so sorry.
We love your 2-year-old. Bring them along anytime.
Well, it's my 2-year-old with my 17-year-old, so imagine that. But no, I'm trying to figure out, because I wasn't able to really generate any business when I paid for the RON, because I get the services through NNA, and they kind of pretty much try to stay up to date with each state and what you can and can't do. So I had the electronic certificate and the e-seal, and I went through IDEN Trust to complete the the full thing, but I never really got any business. So I let it lapse. But when you all sent out the information in regards to Blue Notary, I'm trying to see if that will be good to get back into, or if it's just Alabama and we're just behind times and slow in regards to doing RON.
You know, I'm gonna actually, this is actually one of the same questions that Bill's gonna have to answer tonight. I'm gonna ask Bill to chime in on this, but one of the things I want to do before Bill chimes in on this is I want to say that I want to encourage you guys to go back to our replays. Out of all of the companies out there that try to sell you stuff, our general mentorships really are questions like these that get answered, and we have real great information. And I'm only bringing this up, Adina, because there's a specific one that I want to point out, but I'm going to share my screen here on our YouTube page. I don't think sometimes people know how to navigate YouTube. I didn't know until I became a YouTube channel. But there's this little button here called videos. Now we have all the front facing videos that we would love for you to watch, and you can scroll over and keep them going. But you can also go back to the videos here and you can see them in order that we filmed them. And there is a couple of videos that really focus on how to get found as a virtual notary. And then we have the get started with remote online notarization. I'd like for you to go back to those, because those are, you know, it's hard to shove a 2-hour answer into a single question. That's just really hard to do. I'd love for you to go watch those, and anybody interested in this question. Bill talks almost every week, right, Bill, about how to get business as a RON notary and how to build your business. I'm looking for Bill. There we go.
Yes.
So Bill talks at his, there, I found you on the screen. It's hard for me to talk to somebody that I can't see their face. Bill talks every week about how to get more business as a RON notary in his RON class every week. And, you know, we have a lot of notary stars now. We're up to like 10,000 through the entire platform. If you are looking how to get more business or why to get more business, yes, we sent out a massive email at Unlimited Ink Notary, and exactly what I predicted to happen has happened. 400 notaries rushed up to the fence and said, you know, I want to try those. Half of those got the orders and have not picked up a single one yet. There are some that have risen to the top and some that have gone to the bottom because they're of their own aptitude or their own desire to get them, or they're just afraid. And I actually spoke to a notary today that said, I'm a little afraid of going. And I said, listen, I'll give you a chance. You know, these are one-pagers. You got to do it. What my personal take, and then I'll let Bill talk about this, and I want to hear what Bill thinks as well, is that part of the problem in the industry with getting started with RON is that notaries are still expecting the business to come to them. And I know for a ton of you, you went out and took Laura Beaver's and Bill's training on how to become a trust notary delivery agent. And I will tell you, it's a numbers game. 20% of you will actually be successful at going to get that business because you will be afraid to go get it. You will not take the action that it takes to go get that business. And I'm not speaking down, it's just facts. When people sign up at Notary Stars, I know a certain percentage of them are going to say 3 months later, I didn't take the classes. I didn't indulge in the training. Now it's time. I'm needing money. I need to pay my rent. I need to pay my mortgage. It's a numbers game. And with RON, and I'll leave it to Bill after this, you have to, once you sign up with a platform, you got to go out there and sell it. You've got to tell people, I am RON proof. These are the platforms I'm on. I can do your seller files. I can do these things. You've got to start having that conversation. And I swear this is where I'm going to leave it for Bill. You've all heard that saying, you know, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with 4 successful people. Well, you got Beth, Ronnie, and Bill here on the screen, and Amy Seitz comes here often. And 3 of us are really into RON, and we're pulling Beth along whether she likes it or not. She's kicking and screaming, but she's coming. So Bill, what are your takes on this?
So I mean, I think that absolutely you should pursue it. I don't think that you should let it go by the wayside. Because there are there's a lot of opportunities, and just like Ronnie said a little bit ago, there actually was a census that came out from the NNA a couple of years ago, and even at that time, the numbers were still so skewed in your favor as a remote notary because of all of the notaries that were in the country. I think it said that 50% of them had the ability to do RON, and of that number, like only 10 or 15% had done more than 3. So we're still in such a golden era of it. It's so brand new, and it's so there's just, you pick the field that you want to go after and go after it. And aside from the loan signing, which is fairly saturated and is, whether it's traditional or remote notary, the rest of the areas are so widely untouched. And the nice thing about it is that you can kind of cobble together and make something fit the business plan that you want it to. So I would absolutely encourage it. Now, you know, kind of like Ronnie gave the example of all the people that signed up, and then, you know, not as many went through with it. Probably a lot of that is because of that comfort with loan signings. And, you know, that's what a lot of us that are in here know or learned on. And so there's that comfort factor with it. But then, again, like Ronnie said, that's the difference with RON, is it doesn't just get handed to you. There are companies you can find that get handed to you, but them handing you the business in turn means you're going to take a lot less money. I have a company that reached out to me the other day and wanted me to do loan signings with them for $35. Well, $35 is $35, but it's, you know, because they're doing the work, because they're doing the tagging, because they're doing the marketing, because they're paying for the platform expenses, because they're doing everything, you get a lesser amount. So it's better off to go out there and kind of find your own business, find your own way. And we talk about that in class all the time. I think a couple of weeks ago, we went through, what was it? Just different notarial segments. I think I went through 10 notarial segments with 5 different businesses within those segments. So general notary work, loan signing agent, apostille, marriage and divorce, all these different areas. And then we talked about the persons that you would contact within each of those areas to go and get more business. You just kind of have to get out there, get your feet wet. The example that I'll give, since a lot of people in here do loan signings, and I promise you, a lot of the people that you're working with or that are also remote notaries are not doing this, is they're just going with the signing services to get the business. However, think about all the other people that are associated with the loan signing. The realtor. Now, the realtor does not have a say in, you know, who the notary is, but the realtor is who drives the business to the escrow. And so the escrows want to keep the realtors happy. So make it a point to contact realtors. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Explain your services, explain what you can do, explain how you can help them in a pinch, so that when they get into that bind, they can tell their escrow, hey, I understand my person's in Japan, but there's a remote notary that I know can do something like this. You could go in and speak to, let's say you have an in with the title company, the title officers. They get a lot of like corrections or re-signs or last minute things. Why not be that person that they come to for that one-off correction? So there's ways to stay within the loan signing industry, but just not go with the signing agencies. And so, you know, the bank, the mortgages, again, the lenders, they drive business. So go and talk to the lenders. There's a ton of them, especially realtors. They're always looking for someone to come in and speak at their like weekly meetings and things like that. Get in there, kind of explain it. I mean,
and Bill, I just want to ask you, so everybody here knows this, because we hired you for a reason. First of all, I met Bill when he was an in-person notary. Okay. He's one of my white glove notaries out of Las Vegas. And he's one of the biggest pioneers for RON that I know of. He was telling me things about it before I knew anything about it. Bill, how long has it been since you have taken a paper signing?
A paper signing? I haven't met someone face to face since probably April of 2020. April of 2020. So
it is now
3.5 years.
It is now November of 2023. And I'm not going to ask you your salary because that's your business, you know. In your notary work salary, because I know that, you know, you have an instructor's pay here, but in your notary salary, what are your business hours?
What do I have my availability, or what do I actually?
What are your available hours that you work?
I put on my calendar from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m.
So you work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you make sufficient money to never leave your home.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't go back. I won't go out in person again. I get calls to do them. I'm like, I'm sorry.
and Bill is now going to be what I call a diva RON notary. Like you guys have heard me talk about diva notaries. Once you learn how much you can make, you never want to work again, and you know it become diva. Bill is going to be what I call a diva RON notary. He's never going out in person again. I envy that because I haven't gotten there yet. I've done tons of RONs and I do them, but I envy that, and that's why he's the instructor here and teaching notaries under the roof. So if you are interested in that avenue, I really hope that you'll come visit his class, which is taught on Fridays. I want to go back to another question for Miss Beth really quick. This is an Arizona specific question. Guys, if you can hold on, we have about 10 minutes left. We may not get to every question tonight. This one got previously written in. I'd like for Miss Beth to get through it because I know that there is a couple of points to it. But if you stick around to the end, I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to be along that same vein for Ron, but it's going to apply to all notaries, something that you need to know. But Miss Beth, let's go with that question for you. Again, this is an Arizona specific question, not to throw you off. It says, a signing agency recently told me that there were laws updated that said, even if the form doesn't include when my commission expires, that I have to write on my notarial certificate when my commission expires. Is this true? And if so, is there a statute showing this? And I didn't feel comfortable, and they put a little note. It says I didn't feel comfortable asking them for the statute, as they were kind of abrasive with me. So they want to get an answer here amongst friends where they can get a clear answer on this.
Okay, that's going to be a two-part answer for you. But first, before I even get there, we've got almost 100 notaries on this session tonight. Put a 1 in the chat if you're from Arizona. Arizona Notaries, put a 1 in the chat. So we've got, well, Carol's working on it.
I guess I should do it because I'm also an Arizona notary.
That's right. Put your 1 in there. All right. They're still coming in. So here, the short answer I'm going to give you first, because that's the answer you're looking for. And the short answer is yes. You need your commission expiration date on your certificates, and there is a statute for that. It's ARS 41-264A, if you want to look that up. Here's the rub, okay? I want you to go and read that text. This was Senate Bill 11115 that passed last July 2022, okay? Effective January 2023. In that Senate bill, it talked about the requirement for putting your commission number on your certificates. And then there was an ARS, or not an ARS, administrative code that the Secretary of State threw in there that said, if it's not on your stamp, it needs to be written on your certificate. So here's the rub. When we pull up that statute, and we're going to always try and pull up a statute and read it, and here's why. And I'm going to go off in the weeds here for just a second. Part of that statute says that you also have to have your title of office on that certificate. So guys, if it doesn't say before me, comma, a notary public, or if it doesn't say notary public under your signature line, or somewhere in that certificate reference how you have the power to complete a certificate, you need to write it on your certificates, either in your signature, Beth Hathu, comma, notary public, or print your name below that signature line, comma, notary public, if you're in Florida, or those words, notary public, have to be in that certificate, because there are other offices that do notarizations and they are not notary publics. Okay, embassy officers can notarize. Certain high-level members of the armed forces can notarize. Circuit court judges, clerks can notarize, but their title is not notary public. So I just want to make sure you understand that's part of what's in that statute. But it also says, if the notarial officer is a notary public, we need to indicate the date of the expiration on the notarial officer's commission certificate. So it has to be in our certificates based on that statute. Here's the lesson I want you to take away from this. If you need to find and read the actual regulation. Arizona, and it may not be your own state, this applies to all you guys. I mean, your states may do as equal a terrible job of handbooks as our state does. But Arizona doesn't do a good job of keeping our handbooks up to date and in compliance. Here's a couple of examples for you. If you're relying on your picture books, you go to your state manual and there's a copy of your certificate, a sample of your certificate, and you say, okay, I see everything that has to be in my certificate. Here's what I want you to know. If you look at the samples on page 27, 28, and 29 of your Arizona State Handbook, it doesn't contain the requirement for the commission expiration date. If you flip over to page 37, and that starts the short form certificate samples, the commission expiration line is there. So it's not on page 27, 28, and 29, but it is there on page 37. Keep going back to page 47, short form certificate samples for individuals, corporations, partnerships, attorney-in-fact, public officers, trustees, personal representative. It sounds like they're being really, really detailed right there for all of these different certificates. Does not show the commission expiration line on those samples. So if you're a picture person and you find one picture and you say it's not there, I don't have to do it, I want to caution you to please pull up that statute and read it thoroughly. So the statute says, yes, it has to be there. Arizona Secretary of State did a administrative code that said if it's not on your stamp, it has to be there. So play it safe, put it on your certificates and read those statutes when you get access to them. If someone tells you something is required, ask for the statute before you proceed.
Thank you, Ms. Beth. One of the things that we love about you so much is that you are so thorough with your explanations and you're so caring with how you present information. So we just appreciate your thoroughness here, because I have to tell you, I learned something today when I called you and asked you about this question. I'd love to say I know everything, but I have to tell you, if Beth doesn't know it, she goes out and researches it and makes sure she gives it to us straight. Just a reminder, when you guys are helping other notaries, make sure you can give an answer like Ms. Beth. Make sure you can give a full, thorough answer of why and how to research it and tell them how to double check you on that. And we always encourage you, when someone tells you something, ask them, what is the statute? Can you show me where this is located? If they can't show you where it's located, it may not be true. Okay.
Or it may be misinterpreted for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Bill, we have one more question for you, but I want to say two things before we do that. Number one, Jamie Falcone, I put a message in the chat just for you. You wrote me an email and I called you right after and it didn't get you, and I wrote you an email. I'm still waiting on to hear back from you, but I see you here tonight, so I want to make sure that you reach back out to me because we do need to get something scheduled. The next question, Bill, and after this question, I want to kind of go to the end. If you guys will just stick around, I'm going to show you something that will probably change your notary career and the trajectory of it. And that's true if you're open to it. Bill, this one I think is really important for us to get in tonight, and we can get the next one in for the future. This one says, if you have done 2 or more RON signings for a person, is it necessary to put them through biometrics or KBA? Again, since you already know the person.
So, should you KBA or do the biometrics again? You have to take into consideration or keep in mind, you ultimately are the person that's going to answer for whatever you do, because you could go through technically and mark personally known on everything and always skip KBA. But is that allowed by your state mandate? No. You have to do some kind of ID verification. So the second time you meet them, you know, you have to look, if this got called into court or someone asked me why I didn't KBA them, can you justify why you did not KBA or do biometrics for them? Did you just meet them a few moments ago? For instance, I did a signing last week on Friday where I met the signer in the session. At the end of the signing, she said, oh, I have this other document. Can we notarize this as well? And I couldn't put it into that session, but I was able to say, yeah, go ahead and send it to me. So I literally met her 5 minutes after I had just finished a signing with her. So in that instance, I did not make her KBA. I still made her go through the same things where she showed me her ID in the camera and I asked her the questions and everything. But I can very reliably say if someone called me on it, yeah, that video from 2 minutes ago, I remember her. So I do know her because she just ID verified with me a few minutes ago. Now, if it's something where it's been, you know, a lot longer, just KBA the person again. Why run the risk? You know, every time you check into a doctor's appointment or anything anymore, you have to do those questions. You have to answer those little KBA kind of questions. And so why not have them do the same thing for you? It's your butt that's on the line if you screw it up. So you might as well do it, and take into consideration that if they've done it already once before and got through, it's going to be even easier for them the next time because they already know they've got the game. They understand what's going on. So when in doubt, just do it again. Cover your butt. If, though, that you can justify that, yes, I absolutely did this person recently, I know who they are, I could pick them out in a crowd, then I guess you could do it. But again, that's just my opinion. You are the one your license is on the line if you screw it up. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Bill. Guys, I want to bring something to your attention in closing tonight. You know, we do teach more than just loan signings here at Notary Stars. I teach an excellent marketing class, and I want to show you something online that you all should be very, very concerned with. If you are going to be in this business for a long time, you need to know how to market your business. And I just want to show you something, and this is just one of many. I've done a search here. I've pre-done these searches. So I've typed in Phoenix Notary. There's no way to, you know, do this. Of course, I have this little search parameter. A lot of people think that Google My Business is the #1 be all end all. That's not true. People go down this like a Rolodex and then they start clicking websites. And one of the websites that you'll see that's gaining a lot is Notarize, and Blue Notary is actually coming up as well. I want to show you this because if we click on this website here, you're going to see this nice Notarize website where it says Notarize now, upload your document. Okay. This goes for in-person and paper notaries. This is what we call a dynamic landing page. This is one single landing page. Okay, but what the difference is, you'll notice the link up here at the top. It says notarize.com/cities/Phoenix underscore or dash Arizona. Well, let's go over to Tucson Notary Search, and what you're going to see is that same web page with cities-Tucson, Arizona. I invite you to go out and Google your city name and the word notary and see if Blue Notary or Notarize has already creeped up in your backyard and is taking your general notary work business and your loan signing agent business. This is what we call a dynamic landing page. If I split between these two sites, you're going to see first the Phoenix site, then you're going to see the Tucson site. This is not just happening in Tucson. This is happening in California. This is happening everywhere. And you might think, well, what can I do about it? They probably have lots of SEO artists. Well, guess what? You have an SEO artist. You have someone who can teach you how to do this. And I teach my students, and I have a lot of students who are on page 1 of Google. And I want to tell you that I have 70-plus-year-old men in my class who have built their own web pages and are coming up #1 on Google. And there's not a single website that I've built that's not #1 when it goes for the right searches. Let's just take Jail Notary Phoenix. Everybody thinks that Google My Business is the biggest one. Well, here's Jail Notary Phoenix. Guess who's #1 before Google My Business? Unlimited Ink Notary. But I'm not just #1. After I get my #1 spot with Notary Stars, I still have another web page, another one. Oh, and there's one of my students. I did build a website, but she has 2 pages. We're dominating the first page of Google in the areas that we want. Here's another search for Hospital Notary Phoenix. If anybody wonders how they're getting more general notary work from Unlimited Ink than any other signing company in the country, it's because I come up before Google My Business. I come up before any other websites, and it's not that hard. Recently, in one of my classes, Ben Delvin, who's on the call tonight, I'd love for you to raise your hand because you deserve a round of applause. He said, hey, listen, I feel like I'm competing the most with the UPS stores. And I Googled, we did this class the last 2 weeks. I built a dynamic web page, which competes with every address of the UPS store. I'm currently sitting in Central Phoenix in the 85016 to 85018 area code, our zip code. And we built these dynamic pages with the UPS store, and you all know how they come up. Well, here I am, only a couple of days after building this, and here is one of my pages that we built, and here is another one. I built these in front of the students to show how you can become up on the first page of Google. It is really important that you know how to market, and companies like these are spending thousands and thousands of dollars. My marketing course is $59.95 a month. You can get it for a year for $502 if you upgrade, or if you're coming in for an annual special. And yes, marketing does take a little while. I know notaries who are paying over $1,000 just to learn how to do loan signing. We have everything under the hood. If you want to know how to compete in this industry with everyone out there and the ones that are creeping up in your backyard, especially you California notaries who Ron is going to take the most from you, I can teach you how to build dynamic web pages for in-person signings or remote online notarization. And I'm teaching my current California notary students how to start these dynamic pages and at least get a referral fee for getting every zip code in America. So I want to tell you that you can compete. It does take time. It does take a little bit more effort. But if you don't start now, someone's already in your backyard. Someone's already taking your business. I don't mean that as a scare tactic to scare you into my course, but there's no other course out there teaching this. You can walk in the door all you want to, but as a RON notary, you have the world at your feet, or at least the entire US territory. If you're bilingual, you got even more than that. So I want to let you guys know that you can learn these things, and it does take time. You're not going to learn it overnight, but at the rate that I teach it, you probably want to get in on it. And guess what? Once you learn what I know, you can start charging other people to do these services for them. It is a whole skill set and level that I don't do a certification, but I'll teach you everything I learned during my actual real certifications to teach building websites and SEO. but it is a skill set that you can take with you and turn into another side hustle. When you understand how Google works and what you need to put on a web page, you don't even have to be that creative. Go look at some of the websites I built. They're very simple, but they come up first. And guess who gets the business? He who comes up first and answers his phone, or she, or they, them. I don't know what pronouns I'm supposed to use for that. But the person who gets the website first gets the phone calls. And then, of course, you have to maintain it. And I teach you all of that in my course. So I really hope that you guys will go out and Google your own area and see how many people are beating you. And then come let me show you how to beat them. And what I teach in my course is I don't teach you how to beat everyone on the internet. I teach you how to beat the top one on the internet. Everyone else, I don't care about. I only care about the #1 position. How do I beat that one? Because if I'm at the top, I'm the winner. Okay, guys, I'm going to ask that you turn on your cameras because we have reached the end of the night. We're a little about 5 minutes over. Thanks for entertaining that. But we are coming up on the slowest month of the year, which will be January. Now's a good time to get your marketing in place. But if you are not naked and you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich right now, please turn on those cameras and let's give our signature wave to those future notaries that are going to come and watch these sessions and get up to speed with the rest of us and wave to yourself.
Wait, before you go there, wait, there's something special happening on the 16th. Tell us what that is.
Well, you're going to have to remind me because I don't have the calendar in front of me. There's 2 special events coming up. Is it your event or my event?
Both.
Okay. Oh, they're on the same day.
Yes.
What time is your event on the 16th, Miss Beth?
6 p.m.
What time is my event?
12 noon.
Okay, guys. 12 noon is my time. I'm going to be teaching the first perfection notary resume. If you want to know what a perfect notary resume, when you walk into a company, what it should look like and what it should say, I'm going to be teaching that at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, correct?
Friday. Yours is Friday the 17th.
Sorry, Friday the 17th at what time?
12 noon Arizona time.
12 noon Arizona time. And you're teaching on the 16th, you are teaching a how to recognize a fake ID class, correct?
One of the areas of our industry that gets the least attention, and yet it's the biggest part of our job, identifying signers.
Here's the funny thing about what we're doing now. We've opened up, since last year at this time, we opened up all of our classes on general mentorship. It will remain free and public, but we know who we are now in the industry. From now on, if you don't attend live, you have to be a member to get the replay. General mentorship will still remain on our YouTube channel, but any of our special live classes that we do that we invite everybody into, please mark your calendars because if you're not there, you have to be a member at this point to get the replays. We will no longer be posting them for free. We did this for 1 year to grow the community and we've actually doubled our entire community. We are dedicated to signing agent excellence here and we want you guys to be the most excellent signing agent that you could possibly be. But we have to start drawing the line in the sand because I think sometimes people don't understand exactly all we have to offer. And we really wanted to open that up this year to make sure everybody could kind of see that. So now let's get back to the goodbyes. If you are not naked, turn on those cameras. Wave to yourself, wave to those future notaries and make sure that they feel the love too. And Miss Beth, how do we say it here at Notary Stars when we're saying goodbye?
You know what? Just be kind. Help another notary. Whoever said this job was easy just doesn't understand the mechanics of it. So everyone is trying to get somewhere. And this is all about how we get there together, guys. So reach back, grab that notary's hand and bring them along with you on your journey. Don't forget to download that chat and save it before you log out. See you guys again later.
Good night, everybody.